Thank you for watching the Max Good Tip channel. Today we're going to discuss the basics of adding refrigerant to the low side, that's the blue side, of the compressor using a Toyota Rav4 as an example. Let's get started.
The blue side is called the low side. That's this gauge here. The other side, on the far right, is the red gauge called the high side of the compressor. You get these readings by hooking up using these quick release connectors. The nice thing is they're two different sizes, so you can't really screw it up. So before you hook it up, close it off. Some kits will actually have it closed off here with a dial setting here. And make sure you're wearing your PPE before you do this, gloves and glasses, because this refrigerant can be very hard on paint if it kicks back at you. Now this refrigerant I'm using is an all-in-one. It actually has the oil added to it and also the dye to maintain maintenance within the system. This system is not fully discharged. It is functional and working. It's just slightly low. So I'm just going to add refrigerant to it, so it's going to be a very simplistic process. If you're looking for a video on how to actually diagnose and repair an air conditioning recharge system, this won't be able to help you. We're just going to go into the very basics of adding a can of refrigerant to top you off. Now, how much do you know how to add is another question, and that's quite simple. You discover that here on your placard.
With the help of your placard, you will have to do a bit of math. In this video example, we used a little bit more than a small can of refrigerant.
Here's the low side. I'm going to take the cap off. It's marked in blue. I'll keep the cap in my pocket. And here's the high side. Now, as discussed previously with our quick release connection, I'm going to pull up and then press down and hook it on. Now I'll do the high side. A slight hissing sound is normal. Next, start the car. Turn on your air conditioning. Turn your temperature down to the lowest possible setting. And make sure the recirc fan is off. Turn your fan up to high. And then take note of your PSI indication on your low side, the blue. With the engine running and looking at the low side, you can see that we're not in the blue optimum range where we want to be. So we're going to add some refrigerant into the system. We'll show you what that looks like. Both the yellow and the blue lines, when they're being used to add refrigerant into the system, have the exact same style piercing nozzle. How it works is that you make sure your needle is fully retracted by having it up and then threading your can on. When you're ready, actually pierce the can by moving the plunger down with the needle on the end. That'll pierce the can. However, refrigerant will not be released until you actually retract the needle, because there's another valve inside of here, back up into the assembly. Now this is the same regardless if you're using a yellow or if you're using just the blue only on some of those do-it-yourself kits that you find at the auto parts dealers. Now keeping the can upright is key. In this case I propped it up and I tied it with an elastic band, but I also brought the piercing valve back out, which opened up the valve inside of here. So now refrigerant is going in to the low side, and as you can see here, the gauge on this one, which is reading in PSI, is now nicely in the blue, and it's cycling through as the compressor goes on and off, on and off. This takes about 15 minutes to draw the oil, refrigerant, and additives, in this case dye, this is an all-in-one, into the system. So we'll go into the car and see if the air is getting cooler, which it should be.
We were successful in adding a can of refrigerant to a healthy air conditioning system. We shook the can before applying it and periodically during use. We were mindful of our valve position, and we used about 15 minutes of time to add per can. The AC will cycle on and off as you saw in the video, so make sure you slowly add it specifically towards the end because your PSI is going to bump and need to stabilize. In this Toyota Rav4 example, we brought the low side of the compressor up to about 42 PSI. We used an all-in-one, which means it's going to lubricate the seals and the parts within the compressor. Did you find this video helpful? If you did, please like and subscribe today to the Max Good Tip channel. Your support does make a difference, and thank you for watching.